Ashley here with HeartHookHome.com, and today we are going to work up one of these spiral marble mazes. So this piece of crochet that I've got here has one of these marbles, or it's a ball bearing, inside that you can move in a spiral, and it's a great fidget toy. Once you get it all the way to the outer limits here, then you can make it go back the other direction in a spiral until it gets all the way back to the center. So in order to make this, it's two simple squares that we seam together in the spiral. You can kind of see my sewing here of the spiral where we sew it together, and then we go around the outside to get it together there. Let's go ahead and learn how to make one of these spiral marble mazes. In order to make our spiral marble mazes, I am using a 100% worsted weight craft cotton. This is a great cotton for sturdy things like this. I have a 5mm crochet hook that I will be using. I have a stitch marker to mark the first stitch of each round, yarn needle to sew my square or my circles together, and then we will need one of these 10mm ball bearings per maze. Ready? Let's do it. To start, we are going to start with a magic circle. I have a dedicated tutorial for this that I will link for you. I'm going to pull this one through there, up, and chain one to lock it in. If you don't want to do a magic circle, you can chain 3 and join to the first chain made. So for this first circle, we are going to start with a regular tail. We don't need it to be super long, but we are going to start with a chain 1, single crochet, double crochet, and then 8 linked double crochet in here. So to start that first linked stitch, we're going to go into this bar from that double crochet just on the surface and pull up a loop, and then go into the magic circle and pull up another loop. Complete that linked double crochet as normal. I'm going to go ahead and mark this first stitch made just so that we have it. So now for the rest of those linked double crochets, I'm going into this bar here on the surface of the double crochet and then into the magic circle. Into that bar and the circle. Bar and circle. I think this is my 10th stitch. Let's count. Beautiful. So now I'm going to remove this stitch marker. I am ready for round 2. In order to make round 2, I am going to go directly into that single crochet there. I am not going to join, I'm not going to turn, I'm not going to anything. I'm going to pull my magic circle yarn tail a little bit tighter. I'm going to do my first linked double crochet. So in round 2, I'm going to do 2 linked double crochets in each stitch. So here is this first one, is going to be this single right here. 1, let's mark this, and 2 in this same stitch. And now I'm going to do 2 in this one, and 2 in this one, and 2 in this one, all the way around until we get back to the stitch marker. Here's my 20th stitch. And now for round 3, so there's only 3 rounds on this whole thing. Well, you gotta make 2 of them. But for round 3, I'm going to remove that stitch marker. I'm going to do my first stitch, my first linked double crochet, and replace the marker. And now I'm going to do 2 linked in the next. I'm going to alternate 1 linked double crochet with 2 linked double crochets in the same, or in the next stitch. So at the end of this round, I'm going to do 1 in here and then 2 in the next. And I'm going to alternate those all the way around, and when I get to the end of this round, I will have 30 linked double crochet stitches. This is my 30th linked double crochet. And now with the first circle, well, we're going to do a couple more stitches just to finish off cleanly. So go ahead and remove that stitch marker. We're going to do a linked half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So I'm going into that like I did for the doubles, go into the next, and then we're going to treat it like a half double crochet where you just pull it through all 3. Go into that vertical bar here, or the horizontal, I suppose, into that one from that half double, into that next stitch, and then treat it like a half double with all 3. Now we're going to do a single crochet in the next and a slip stitch in the next. And so that is going to be a nice clean ending for our spiral. So go ahead and weave or clip your yarn and weave in your ends. So this is the first circle. On the second circle, we are going to not do this. We're going to not clip our yarn. I'm going to do an invisible join here. I do have a tutorial for that. That is dedicated. I will link to it. Going to weave in all of my ends just like this, nice and sturdy. Beautiful. Come back the other direction. And I will do this beginning tail as well. Then you need to go ahead and make your second circle. Let's show this here. So I'm going to make another one of these that looks almost identical to it, right? Except that I'm going to start with a very long tail, about a 20-inch tail, and I'm not going to fasten off when I finish my end here. So I'm going to make another one of these exactly like this, and when I'm finished, we'll hook up and seam it together with our marble. Finishing round 3, I'm going to do my 2 linked half double crochets. My single crochet and my slip stitch. I'm going to set my hook aside. I'm going to mark or put a stitch marker to hold my working loop. Now, since I left the long tail to start, we're going to use that to seam our 2 circles together. So we're going to take circle number 2 and put it on top of circle number 1, right? So let's find, this is the final stitch here, this is the final stitch here. Now we've got our center yarn, let's move this working yarn out of the way. So now we've got our center yarn coming out of this circle 2, and we need it to go through the center of circle 1. So I'm just going to go through the center of circle 1, just like this. Now that we've got our 2 circles joined at the center, we're going to find the top of that first stitch, which is at that single crochet right here. We're going to come up through that and through the first on the second circle. So the exact same parts on both circles, we're coming up and we're just sewing these together like a sandwich, right? So leave these right where they are. We're going to go into the next stitch here. So we came out of this one, we're going to go into this one. Find that on the second circle, right here, and go straight on through, just like that. And now we find the next one. So now that we've got it kind of going a little bit, you can follow this spiral and sew all around where this, like right here, we're going to come in here, and it should come up that same next stitch or that identical stitch on this one. And now we're going to go down through the next right here, and it should hopefully go coordinating to the next circle below it. Now we're going to go into the next, which should be right here. Make sure you're coming out at the top of that stitch right here. We're just going to continue sewing these 2 together as a spiral. Now that I have sewn all the spiral throughout the internal parts of the maze, now I'm ready to do a single crochet around the outside to sew that shut. So I'm going to reinsert my crochet hook. I'm going to do a single crochet through both fabrics of the next, 1 more single crochet, and now I'm going to do 2 in the next. We'll do 1 single crochet in the next, 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. When you get to that last repeat, so when we only have a few stitches here, leave that open so we can put one of these marbles in. So when we've only got a few of these stitches remaining, we're going to put one of our marbles or the ball bearings down into the spiral maze, kind of push it down in there just a little bit. It's already doing its thing. Look at that, so cool. All right, so now we're going to do our single crochet, single, and then 2 singles. Now you can either slip stitch to fasten off, or you can do a pretty functional edging. Let's go ahead and do that, I suppose. Where this started, I'm going to do a slip stitch in this one. Let me mark this. I'm going to do a fancy little border here. This is totally optional. You don't have to do it. Chain 1 and then slip stitch in the next and chain 1. Slip stitch in the next and chain 1. And do this all the way around, and it gives it a really pretty little ruffled edge. Go ahead and clip my yarn. Weave in all of our ends. And we will be finished. So you can see my marble right here. The linked double crochet works really well for this pattern because the marble can move around. And since we sewed the 2 fabrics together, now it's moving in a spiral, right? Now it's gonna go down, follow the yellow brick road, right? Follow the yellow brick road. So now since we seamed those, it's just gonna continue going in this spiral all the way to the center. And when you're ready, or whoever's fidgeting with it, to go back the other direction, then you just start pushing it the other direction, and you can continuously move this around just to your heart's content. So I'm going to go ahead and weave in the last of my yarn tails here. I hope you enjoyed this marble maze. I hope you get lots of enjoyment out of it, or whoever you're making it for. And thanks for crocheting with me. I'll talk to you soon.